Alright, now this video assumes that you've already built the basic structure of your house, you've extruded it, you've added the rake eaves. Now what we want to do is add on windows and doors. We can add siding. There's a whole lot of things we can do to it. Before we do anything else, let's actually take the eraser tool and we can get rid of these lines here and just patch things up a little bit. Zoom out a bit and grab my orbit tool. If you hold shift, you can move around with the hand tool. We're going to delete these guides because we don't need them anymore. And then orbit around to the back side of the house. And do the same thing. And you want to be careful because if you click on the wrong thing, you can actually erase sides of your house. So if I were to click on there, see that part of the roof just disappeared. We want to make sure that we just click on that small line right there. Alright, so our house is set and ready to go for windows and doors. Figure out which side you want to add the door or the windows to. We're just going to do a simple house for this tutorial. You can go crazy in the next one. The first thing you want to do in regards to this is draw a rectangle wherever you want the door or the windows to go. It doesn't really matter how big it is because we can fix it up later. And again, snap interval, I'm going to change this back to 1 foot. We're going to do a 7 foot by 3 foot door. Or 6 foot. Yeah, let's do a 6 foot door. And then draw on wherever you want the windows to go. And you want to make sure that they're where you want them to be because you can't really move them around later. So if it doesn't look right, go ahead and you can redraw the window. There we go, that looks good. And then if I want to, I can actually, if I measure out, so that's 3 feet out this way, I could do the same thing over on this side. So I said it was what, 3 feet? Three feet and a little more maybe. Let's just do 4 feet and be on the safe side. The other way that you can do it is if you want to make it on a grid, you can figure out exactly how high you want it to go. So maybe it's 3 feet high, maybe you have it 3 feet in. A little less confusion that way. And if you want your window to be 4 feet wide, you can measure it that way. Let's do 5 feet. I'm just going to drag this out so I get my guide. Same thing over here. 5 feet. Whoops. And it should give me a guide if I go from this edge here. Oops. Just like that. And then how high do we want them to be? Let's actually do 3 feet high. 4 feet high? Yeah, let's do 4 feet high. And draw it in with a rectangle. Now what's really cool about this is if we get rid of our guides, just click on them and they'll go away. Now that we've drawn in our rectangles, we can actually extrude them, push them in and make them disappear. So using the push-pull tool, if we go in, it says on face, that'll get rid of each of these. Sometimes it takes a little bit of work to get there. And we've successfully pulled out our windows. We've got our door. What we can do at this point is, clicking in here and scrolling down, we can go to our 3D warehouse and search. So if we want to look for a window, we can click on it and find one that we like. I think this one will do just fine. So when I click on it, and then another hidden tip is if you click down in the corner, it'll actually lock it to the grid. It's not going to be exactly the right size, so we can use the scale tool. So if I change from the move tool, click on the scale tool, I can click and drag it up or down as I need to. I could drag it side to side, and it'll lock on to wherever it's at. And that just drops in the window. And in fact, we can even click on it, and we can copy it. So then if I go and move over to this side, I can actually paste it in and drop it where it needs to go. So I'm just going to click on the move tool. I'm going to click Control V, which is paste, and just click in the corner. Same thing with the door. And this time I'm not going to show you an easy one. I'm going to show you one that might be a little bit more difficult. So if I click into the 3D warehouse and I type in door, and maybe I want one that has stained glass, so one that's probably custom designed and put into the shop. This is a nice door, but they don't always line up where you want them to be. See, that one just kind of put itself in where it doesn't belong. If I click on it, and add it in, it's kind of just putting itself where it doesn't belong. I can use the move tool and I can move it over. Sometimes, so if I choose a different door altogether, maybe it's this guy right here. Oh, that one's not going to do it. That one's going to size just right. If I choose this one, see how it hangs over down there? Sometimes it won't fit just right. Other times it'll be, I know if you do an Anderson window or door, so let's try that, Anderson door. And we're going to just select this one just to kind of show you. See how it's crooked like this? This is the point where even if you click where it's supposed to be, it's going to be at an angle, or any number of things that is not desirable. So at this point, you're going to want to use the rotate tool. It works very similarly to the protractor tool. And if I were to use the move tool, I can grab it and bump it out this way if I grab the right face, just so that I can see the top view rather than having it be inside the building. And when I click on it with the rotate tool, if I click on the top, click on the same edge, like that, I can actually rotate it to the way that it's supposed to be, and I can watch my angle as well, turn it to the right direction, and then move it to wherever it's supposed to be. And if I did really want to fit it in over here, I could always use the extrude tool and bump my doors and windows open a little bit further. I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to delete this. We're going to go back in, and we're going to just choose that first stained glass door that looked really nice in there. Let's do this one. Click the endpoint and drop it in. And this is where, again, we're going to use the scale tool, bring it down to be where it's supposed to be at. We can also right-click on the door if we want to end up flipping it. So we could flip the entire door. We could flip the texture of the door like that. And if we use the scale tool, we can drag down the height of it, we can bring over the width, and make it fit the side of the house. So there's adding windows and doors. Watch for the final episode where I show you how to add siding and textures.